So usually I do Let's Plays and I do reviews for comic books and mangas and stuff like that. But for this video, I decided, you know what? I think I'm gonna try to pitch my idea for Finn from Star Wars. I will say I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I don't hate it, but I'm not like super gung-ho about it. But it's fine. But I really despise the Disney movies. I hated The Last Jedi, and I think The Force Awakens is actually very meh. It's just basically a remake, A New Hope, and a poorly done one at that. And then I kind of thought about like some like the characters and stuff, and I actually had a shower thought where I was in the shower and then I thought, you know what? They completely butchered the Finn character. Like Finn from the trailers seemed like he would be like a pretty cool character or someone interesting. Yeah, this guy who seems to have been working on the side of the First Order or the Empire, whatever you want to refer to them as. I guess I'll just use the First Order since that's what they're called in the Disney version. But you know, and he kind of like leaves the group and joins the Resistance. But the way he leaves it, just something doesn't connect. And also just when you have this character that could be really serious and cool, and you kind of just turned him into a bumbling buffoon. He wasn't really even a stormtrooper. He was a freaking janitor. So I kind of had my own version of Finn, like what I would have done if I was in charge of the series. First of all, I would have completely thrown away the script for The Force Awakens because I don't want to do a remake off a movie that's already been done before. I would have done something completely different. Because the one thing about Star Wars, even the prequels, whether you hate them or not, is that each film is different. Like you can't say, oh, well, The Phantom Menace is a soft reboot of A New Hope. It's like, no, each movie is different. Each movie has its own different structures and stuff like that. They're not the same in any way. So I wouldn't have done that. But let's just create Finn, but keep him still in the Force Awakens structure. Because obviously, as a professional screenwriter, I spend a lot of time doing like outlines and brainstorming and stuff like that. Before I even start writing a script, I want to make sure everything is laid out and set up. Because I like to basically put little nuggets in the beginning and foreshadow things that will play off later. And you can't really do that if you just jump right into a script. You got to like lay down the foundations first and outline everything. Obviously, I'm not doing that for this because I'm not doing a complete outline. I'm not completely changing the entire movie or anything like that. This is just tweaks that I would have done to Finn's character. Before I start, I will say that this is basically going to be an audio video. So you guys can, you guys don't have to like watch anything on the screen. You guys can do whatever you're doing, whether you're working on something or going for a walk or exercising or anything like that. You guys don't have to pay attention to the screens whatsoever. You guys can just listen to the audio. So I just want to give you guys that heads up. So in the original, Finn is taken by his family and then sold to the First Order. I would have completely changed that. Instead, I would have Finn's parents die, and they die at the hands of the Resistance. Now, the Resistance are supposed to be the good guys, so I would have their deaths be an accident. Whether that's maybe the Resistance gets shot down and they crash on Finn's house and like debris falls on their parents, or maybe the rebels shoot down a First Order ship and the ship crashes, or maybe the Resistance is chasing a First Order or even vice versa, and then they're shooting at each other, and then the crossfire, Finn's parents get hit. So basically Finn's parents die at the hands of the Resistance, and the First Order actually takes them in. And they're not taking him out of the goodness of their hearts. They're taking him because they want to add him to their expanding army. But they obviously sell this to him as, we're taking you in, we're going to raise you because those filthy Resistance murdered your parents. And you don't deserve that. Like, that's their sell for Finn, and Finn buys that because he's a kid, and this is what he witnessed. He witnessed his parents die at the hands of the Resistance, and now all of a sudden there's this First Order, and they're willing to take him in and raise him, and he's like, he feels indebted to them. Finn also would not be a janitor or anything stupid like that. Finn will actually be a soldier, and not only is he a soldier, but he's actually a really damn good one. Finn is trained personally by Captain Phasma. Whether it's Captain Phasma taking him in as an apprentice, or whether Captain Phasma is basically training the class that Finn is in. Either way, Finn is being trained by Captain Phasma. And Finn grows up, you know, as he grows up, he climbs the ranks until he gets to the point where he actually commands his own army not his own army, but he commands his own platoon of stormtroopers. So he's not like a general or anything like that, and he's still under Captain Phasma, but he is the leader of his own little platoon of stormtroopers, and his group are like one of the best. Finn is so accomplished that most of the generals in the First Order know him by name. Like if you mention his name, they know exactly who he is and all the great things that he's done for the First Order. And the reason I would do this is one, because I mean, I think we should make Finn just a more badass character, not like a bumbling idiot. But also, I really want to play up the Finn Captain Phasma connection, because I feel like there should have been that in the series, but it's just not play out fully. And this way, I think we'll have basically this cool dynamic when Finn eventually turns to the good guys. We have this whole like student versus teacher moment. Finn climbs up the ranks, blah, 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 blah. And then we cut to, how much of this we actually see in the movies, I'll leave up to like the studio directors. Do we see all this from the beginning? Do we get like exposition dialogue? Like maybe someone mentions, like one of the generals mentions Finn, and then the other general's like, who's that? And then, because he's like one of the few who doesn't really know, and the other general's like, you don't know who Finn is? Finn is blah, 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 blah. And they kind of do an exposition of his backstory. Do we maybe get like flashbacks spread throughout the movies? That can be up to you guys. I'm just giving you all the backstory so you guys know where I'm going from, where I'm building from. So yeah, so up to this point, so basically, Finn, parents killed by the Resistance, raised by the First Order, trained under Captain Phasma, climbs the ranks till eventually he becomes the leader of his own platoon. Then we get the Jakku incident. And the Jakku incident, basically, Finn is given orders that, hey, there's this resistance base on Jakku. They're posing as villagers, but they're actually highly trained soldiers for the resistance, and we need you and your men to go take them out. So Finn goes down there, and him and his group are basically slaughtering the Jakku villagers. And it's not until later that he witnesses like a child standing over the bodies of his parents, and that gives Finn a flashback to his own family. And then that's when he starts putting the pieces again. He's like, oh no, what have I done? Like the First Order, like they bungled this up. This isn't a resistance group posing as villagers. These are actually innocent villagers, and I just slaughtered them. And this is when we plant the seed in Finn's head that maybe the First Order is not what they claim to be. Now, he doesn't betray the First Order just yet. He still works for them, but now he's starting to have doubts. And throughout the movie, we'll get a little bit more pieces of Finn having like these doubts, and he's just kind of like, he doesn't know if what he's doing is right. And maybe the First Order can lie to him. They're like, our intel was bad. Like we thought that this was actually a resistance group, but we were lied to. And then maybe Finn like realizes like, but if the intel was bad, then why was Kylo down there? Why did Kylo interrogate this guy? Why did Kylo seem to know who this guy was? So now he's starting to think maybe the First Order is kind of lying to me, but he's not quite sure. Like he's not at that point yet where he's willing to switch sides. And then like maybe he confides in Captain Phasma or whatever. Captain Phasma feeds him some lies. But I kind of want to play up their relationship a little bit more. By relationship, I don't mean like romantic or anything like that. But I just mean that there's some kind of connection. He sees Captain Phasma like as his mentor. She kind of trained him. She almost kind of raised him in the sense that most of his life growing up revolved around listening to her and taking orders from her and her being in classes where she was the teacher kind of thing. So he looks up to her always. Like he sees her as almost like a parental figure. So he kind of confides in her a little bit, and maybe she feeds him some lies, but at the same time she also kind of tells Kyle like, hey, we really should watch out for this guy. Like, this guy is starting to have doubts. We got to make sure that he doesn't go over to the rebel side. We can like flash forward and stuff, because this whole movie isn't going to be Finn as the main lead. This is just his moments. So we will eventually get to the point where Rey is being interrogated by Kylo, and this I would change. I would have remember how there's that soldier, that stormtrooper that ends up freeing Rey because he gets mind tricked. Well, that soldier will be Finn. Finn is actually the one guarding the interrogation room. Not only that, but Rey doesn't do the whole mind trick thing. She doesn't fight off Kylo. This scene will be a lot different. In this scene, Rey will be brutally tortured. As much as you can get away with for a kids movie. Like maybe she gets lightninged. Maybe he basically uses the Force to kind of just really like put pressure on her mind to the point where it almost feels like her mind is going to like burst or something. Like she's being tortured and Finn is standing there witnessing this whole thing. And that's when that seed that was planted earlier really starts to sprout. And he's like, if the First Order are the good guys, why are we doing this? Why are we torturing people? Why are we murdering innocent villagers? This is wrong. So eventually Rey passes out from the pain and Kylo kind of turns to Finn. He's like, take her back to her cell. We got to wait for her to recuperate, and then we're going to torture him some more for information. Obviously, he doesn't use those exact lines, but that's kind of the gist of his message to Finn. And then Kylo and Phasma, whatever, leave. And Finn basically takes the unconscious body of Rey and starts taking her back to her cell. And along the way, Rey kind of wakes up, but she's still kind of out of it. And maybe she kind of like begs Finn, like, you know, like, why are you doing this? Why are you helping? Like, you know, please let me go. Like, and something about that just kind of hits Finn. And this is the final push that, like, you know what? Like, I'm not fully on the resistance, but I'm not going to let them torture you anymore. And Finn helps Rey kind of like escape, or at least he's helping her escape. And as he's helping her escape, maybe Captain Phasma shows up. And Captain Phasma was like, she's disappointed. Like she had her thoughts that maybe Finn was starting to doubt the First Order, but she didn't want to believe that he would fully turn against them. And the whole interrogation scene and having them having Kylo and stuff take Rey back to her cell was kind of like a test. Like, will he actually do it? Is he still on our side, or is he going to try to use this opportunity to escape? And we'll know for sure like which side Finn is on. And we have a showdown between Finn and Captain Phasma. And Captain Phasma is basically just mopping the floor with Finn. Like Finn, he's great. He's a really good soldier. He climbed up the ranks and he became where he's at through his skills alone. Like he is one of the best. But Captain Phasma is Captain Phasma for a reason. So she's just kind of mopping the floor with him. And then right before she, like, you know, finishes him off, like maybe we have some kind of confrontation like in dialogue and stuff like that, where Captain Phasma is like, you can see how hurt she is. Like maybe like she trained the stormtroopers and she feels a little bit of something for all of them just because she trained them, but she never connected with any of the stormtroopers as much as she connected with Finn. Like Finn grew and took her training like to the next level, and just like to the point where a connection grew between them. Like she saw him as almost like her son in a sense. Like, I raised you and I made you become the person that you are, and you're betraying me and you're betraying everything that I taught you. And she's obviously hurt, and she's about to basically kill off Finn when Rey does something to kind of stop it. Rey is still out of it. My version of Rey would not be some super badass, so she doesn't fight off Captain Phasma or anything like that. Maybe she shoots something, or she causes some kind of distraction, which buys Finn enough time to grab Rey and get out of that situation. So we have our first confrontation between Captain Phasma and Finn, and Captain Phasma basically wins, but she's not able to finish off Finn because of a distraction by Rey. Or maybe Captain Phasma can't bring herself to finish Finn off. Maybe that's another direction we can go, where she's like, I saw you as a son that I never had, and you're betraying me, and like, I just get the hell out of here. Like, I don't, you know, if I ever see you again, I will like kill you. I am only letting you go just this once, just because of, you know, like everything that we've been through together. Again, this is not like a romantic relationship, but just almost like a paternal relationship. But just because of that, like, I will let you go just this once, but I will hunt you down and I will end you for hurting me in this way later on or something. That's one direction we can go if you guys want to. Or we can just go with Rey wakes up enough to cause some kind of distraction. Maybe she orders BB to do something, and there's a distraction that allows Finn to scoop up Rey and leave without, you know, basically it's enough time to stop Captain Phasma from finishing off Finn. and then we can play out, the movie some more or whatever, as it usually goes. And then the showdown between Rey and Kylo also will go completely different, with Kylo basically trouncing Rey. By the way, I have an idea for Rey, for a different version of Rey, which is like way different from how she appears in the current movies. If you guys are interested in that, let me know, and I'll do a separate video on Rey. But basically, because of my version of Rey, she there's no way she's able to hold up against Kylo Ren, none whatsoever. And so Kylo Ren is basically beating up on Rey, and maybe at this point Finn has he's got her to the escape pod. Maybe they've already escaped and then they're coming back later. Or maybe he's like, I got you this far. Here's Han Solo. Here's Chewbacca. Here's your people. Here you go. Like, he pawns Rey off on them, and then he's like, I'm going to leave. And then as he's leaving, maybe he witnesses the fight between Kylo and Rey. And then he's like, you know what? She saved me from Captain Phasma. I can't owe her one, so I'm going to come in. And he causes some kind of, maybe he causes some kind of distraction or something in the fight. So basically, Rey did a distraction that saved Finn. Now Finn gives a distraction that buys Rey enough time that, how the planet starts cracking. Well, the planet cracks and Kylo and Rey are not able to finish their fight, kind of like in the original movie, and Rey is able to make her escape. But this fight would basically be Kylo just trouncing Rey, and he clearly has the upper hand. He's clearly about to do a death blow on Rey. Like, Rey is completely outmatched, and Finn is able to buy her enough time, or maybe Finn helps in the cracking of the planet or something. Finn contributes in some way that allows Rey to escape, or maybe Finn is the one that arrives on the ship that Rey and Chewbacca jump on and escape. So, but basically, Finn kind of helps her at the end, and that's how we'll end the first movie. So Finn's arc so far is that his parents were killed by the Resistance. He was raised by the First Order. He grew and was trained under Captain Phasma, and he became like one of the best stormtroopers, to the point he led his own platoon. He participated in the massacre of Jakku, and that's when he starts doubting the First Order. He is the one that takes Rey away from the interrogation and basically saves her. He has this confrontation with Captain Phasma, which ends in him barely escaping with his life. And then he kind of pays back Rey by causing some kind of distraction or whatever and helping her in that regard. So Finn is not part of the Resistance. The second movie will be maybe, or we can even end the first movie. Maybe Princess Leia is trying to recruit Finn. Like, hey, like, we know like you were part of the First Order, but you helped us when it mattered, and your knowledge could help us. And Finn's like, no, screw you guys. Like, you guys still participate in the deaths of my family. Like, just because I saved Rey, that doesn't mean I'm joining with you guys. Like, you guys are on your own. Like, I'm just not going to help the First Order anymore. But that doesn't mean I'm helping you. That will be Finn's arc. Finn's arc would be, I was a First Order. I found out that they're not the good guys. That they're not the people who I thought they were. I helped you, but I'm not gonna. I helped Rey, and I helped the Resistance in that regard by helping Rey. But I'm not a Resistance, and I'm not going to. Like, you guys still killed my parents. Like, you guys are on your own. But over time, Finn will eventually, obviously, complete that heel face turn and fully join the Resistance. But that's not until like the second movie, maybe even the third movie. I'll say the second movie, because you don't want to drag this out too much. And in the second movie, you can have your big confrontation with Captain Phasma and Finn. Or you can save that for the third movie. It kind of depends. So you can either have your big confrontation with Finn and Captain Phasma, where Finn finally, like, he beats her, and that's how he ends that little arc. Or the confrontation between Captain Phasma and Finn ends in a draw. And then you have their third confrontation in the third movie where Finn finally beats her. That's something to kind of think about. But yeah, that would basically be my pitch for Finn, is that he's not a bumbling buffoon. He's not a freaking janitor. He doesn't spend a whole second movie doing pointless shit. Like, you can completely take Finn out of the second movie and nothing will change. I would not do that. His arc would be, he was a soldier. He was a damn good one. He participated in the massacre, which is what made him start doubting the First Order. And then he his arc is that he's slowly coming around to the idea that maybe the resistance are the good guys. Like maybe I should drop my anger towards them for the death of my families. Maybe eventually he confronts someone who maybe he confronts the person who caused the death of his family. Maybe he confronts their kid. Hell, maybe if you want to have Rose be in there, maybe Rose's dad is the one that contributed in the death of Finn's parents. And then Rose's dad eventually, died. And now Finn, like, he discovers that Rose's dad is responsible for his parents' death. And then we have this anger at Finn towards Rose, like, your dad killed my parents. And then eventually he has to learn to let that anger go. Like, you know what? Rose didn't do anything to me. It was her dad. And eventually, you can do whatever you want with them from there on. Just an idea. But that's what I would do with Finn. I would make him a serious badass character. Like, I wouldn't make him some bubbling comic relief. He would be the serious one. If anything, Rey would actually be more of the comedic relief, but not a bumbling buffoon. But I'll leave that for a separate video if you guys are interested. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. I don't know. Do you guys like my version of Finn? Do you guys hate my version of Finn? Why or why not? Is there anything there that you guys want to work off of? Like, maybe you're like, you know what, Pirate? I liked this idea that you had with Finn, but maybe if you did this instead. Or, yeah, I like this idea, and then you can do this, this, and this, and this based off that idea. I don't know if you guys have anything like that. Let me know. If you guys have your own version of, like, you know what, my version of Finn would be completely different from the movie and completely different from yours, Pirate. Here's my version of what I would do with Finn. Let me know that too. But anyways, tell me what you guys think. Would you guys like more videos like this where I kind of just like pitch like the changes I would have done if the studio had come to me and handed me the scripts? Because I could do some more of these. If you guys want, I can do the Rey video. Just let me know, and I will work on my version of what Rey would be. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 400 subscribers by the end of the year. Please hit the bell for notification. Give a thumbs up. Comment down below. I also have a BitChute, and if you guys are watching this on BitChute, please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. And then, of course, I have a Minds, which this won't be on because Minds only has a 15-minute time limit. And I also have a Twitch that I stream video games on, and I have a Twitter that I hardly ever use. And you can find all that down in the information below. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you guys think, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.